Hello, and welcome to another episode of Love with Bipolar. My name is Ana Ruiz, and I am your host. This is the place where we have the conversations about love, relationships, living with bipolar. So, if you are someone currently living with bipolar disorder, or you have a loved one, or you are in a relationship with someone with bipolar, you are in the right place. Now, if you're just curious about these topics, you are also in the right place. Everyone is welcome here. So, today's topic is something that I have been reflecting on for the past 2 weeks, and it's about seeking a cure for bipolar. So, I don't know you, but when I was diagnosed 20 years ago, I was hospitalized. It was my first manic episode. And that's when the doctors told me that I had bipolar disorder. And I was in denial. I couldn't believe what they were saying. And I wanted to understand what tests they ran or what they did to come to that conclusion. And when they told me that there was no cure for bipolar, I just felt just so much sadness. I felt hopeless. I was heavily medicated with antipsychotics, and I was feeling just really sluggish in my body. I was just not feeling myself. And I just couldn't imagine spending the rest of my life feeling like that. So I'm just going to take a pause and I want to invite you to take a moment to remember how you felt, how you felt the first time that you were told that you had bipolar disorder. How did you feel when you heard that there was no cure? Now, if you are in a relationship or have a loved one with bipolar, just take a moment to remember when you heard from them for the first time. Or maybe the first time that you witnessed them have a manic episode or have a mental crisis. So just remember how you felt. Because I think that it's important that we make room for our feelings and not shove these things down just because we're having conversations. So I remember when I arrived back home from the hospital, I was desperate to find answers. I wanted to figure out how to stop the manic episodes. So I read a bunch of books. I made lifestyle changes. I replaced every toxic household product in my house with something that was natural. I even changed my mattress, and I was sleeping in an organic cotton mattress for many, many years. So I was just ready to try everything. I got rid of all the silver feelings that I had because of the connection between the metal toxicity and the brain. So I did just everything that I could. And the manic episodes continued. So I want to share with you some of the things that I tried and that didn't work, and some of the things that I have tried that actually worked. Because who knows, maybe from hearing some of these things, it might inspire you to try some things or stop you from doing things that haven't worked for me. So things that I tried that didn't work, one of them was homeopathy. And I was seeing one of the um, most well-known homeopathic doctors in the Pacific Northwest. She had written a bunch of books. She had a ton of experience. So I tried homeopathy for a while, and the manic episodes continued. I also tried energy healing, and I spent just so much time in that community that I trained, became an energy healer myself. And then, as part of those trainings, we did meditations in outer state. And every time I did meditations in outer state, I that trigger a manic episode. And something like meditation that seems just harmless. When I was doing meditations in outer state, it was just not good for me. So I had to stop. I also tried medical marijuana. I had an ex-partner who was very much into medical marijuana. He researched a specific strain that was beneficial for mania. And when I tried medical marijuana, I did it just once, and I experienced the worst manic episode of my life. For 48 hours, I was wandering out on the streets by myself, and I was lucky that I didn't die. So just leave it there. Just listen to my experience. Therapy. I tried talk therapy for over a decade, and just talking and talking and talking just barely scratched the surface and didn't really help me um, resolve any of the underlying trauma that's underneath causing the manic episodes. So, what are some things that I have tried that work? Well, number one, being in a relationship with a partner who is supportive, who is there for me whenever I have an emergency, a crisis, need to go to the hospital, and also someone who keeps me accountable. So, for example, making sure that I'm taking my medication, that I'm taking care of myself, that I'm not taking on too much stress. So that has been very healing, and someone who loves me and accepts me the way I am. That has been one of the most healing things in my life. Making diet changes. So I eat very little processed foods. I eat low fat, low carb, and high on protein. Now, I know some people follow the keto diet, and if that's what works for you, that's great. I think what's important is that you learn what works for your body and what doesn't. Another thing is exercise every single day. For many years, I had a yoga practice that was very strenuous, and that was great for me. I think 2 years ago, I got into kickboxing, and I love it until my kickboxing gym closed. And then last year, I got into running. I've never liked running before. And now is the thing that if I don't run, my body just, I can feel it how it has that urge to go out and run. Um, I quit alcohol 3 years ago, cold turkey, and also smoking. So I don't smoke, I don't drink alcohol. And again, they've been really good choices for me. Another thing is more than 20 years ago, I met a chiropractor. His name is Dr. Dick Shepherd, and he practices a different form of chiropractic work. It's called network spinal analysis. It's very gentle in the body, and it really helps me to move stress, to process emotions, and to stay connected in my body. Also, about 7 years ago, I found a psychiatrist who is also a naturopath. And I know I looked for many, many years until I finally found him. And what I like about him is he keeps me on the medications that I need to take. But for other things, like if I need help with sleep, he will recommend options that are natural options before he would recommend a medication. So he's been very good at keeping me with the right amount of medication and not overly medicated or under medicated. The other thing that's been great about working with him is that over the years, he just seen how I have become more and more stable. And because I developed some form of PTSD to being hospitalized after so many times, just like the bright lights, the noises. There's just so much about being in a hospital that I'm very hypersensitive to. That what he has done is he has allowed me to keep just a small amount of antipsychotic medication at home so that if I start feeling something and my husband, who's the one who spots me, if he catches it early, all I need to do is just I have the instructions to start taking the antipsychotic medication. I call my psychiatrist right away, make an appointment, and then that way I don't need hospitalization. So I haven't been hospitalized in about four or 5 years, thanks to that. And then the last thing I want to share is, and this is something that I call a miracle. Last year I met Dr. Nima Ramani. He's a former chiropractor who is an attachment healing specialist. And with his help, I've learned to feel in my body again and really feel all the feelings, feel all the emotions, all the sensations. And now I'm able to feel when a manic episode starts to bubble up. It just feels like butterflies in my solar plexus and in my belly. And I can practice a form of breathing and a meditation that is a form of nervous system regulation that dissolves everything. And then I don't have to take antipsychotic medication. It just works. Now, I'm going to take a pause because I just share a lot with you. And my invitation is if there's anything that you have tried that work for you, my invitation is to share that in the comments here of this podcast so that we can create a space where we're learning from each other and sharing what has worked and what hasn't worked so that we can have a better quality of life. Now, with everything that I've shared so far, um, I had like this question like, well, does that mean that I am cured because I can stop episodes myself? And the truth is, any word like cure, diagnosis, disorder, it's just medical jargon. And bipolar, bipolar response is so much more than just a chemical imbalance in the brain. It's more than a mental illness. It's more than a crisis of the spirit or the soul. Bipolar is a journey, and it is a journey of becoming. So I want to make sure before I say more that I'm transparent and share that I continue to take lithium. And I've been taking lithium for 20 years. It's the only medication that I take on a daily basis, other than antipsychotic as needed. And even though my psychiatrist is starting to taper it down, this is something that my body has been used to for 20 years. And that every time I stop it in the past, I would have a manic episode months later. So I'm very careful about not stopping cold turkey or tapering it down too fast because I know that would create that will make me unstable. Now, I think it's important that we stop the shame around taking medication. Because if you are someone who is in a relationship, you're a parent, you have kids, you have a job, you have financial responsibilities, medication so far is the quickest way to help us get back into our body. So even though I don't like medication, I don't like the side effects, I also understand that for me, in order to be where I am in this journey, is because I was stable. I had to be stable in order to do the work that I've been doing this past few years and learning about my body. And I say this also for those of you who are in a relationship or have a loved one with bipolar. If you have questions about their medication, if you have opinions, have those conversations with your loved one. Go with them to their psychiatric doctor appointments. Ask the questions. Share your opinions. But it's really important that we stop this shame around taking medication. Okay? So the other thing is for me, looking for a cure has been in part running away from the suffering, running away from all the things I don't like about living with bipolar, the gateway, the side effects of the medications, feeling like not myself. So I am well aware that seeking a cure has been a way of like just running away or pushing away all the things I don't like. And with the work that I've been doing in the past year, it has been about expanding my capacity to feel it all, to feel the suffering. And and in a way, I feel like I have grown and I have grown up. So this is a journey and we are in this together. So I will leave you with two questions. Who have you become in this journey? And who do you want to be in this journey? And that's for you living with bipolar, but also for you who has a loved one living with bipolar. Because even though I don't know you, I know some of you, but I don't know all of you personally. I can tell that this is a journey that requires courage and it requires resilience, and you have it in you. So remember, it's a journey and we're in this together. So thank you for watching. I welcome your comments down below, your questions, and I'll see you in the next episode of Love with Bipolar. Ciao, ciao.